I can barely hear you. So 1 second, Mom.
All right.
Just say your intro.
All right. Yeah. Shalom. First and foremost, I of course want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai for the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the gospel of His truth. Today, I'm just doing a civilized dialogue or debate, so to speak, with one of my brothers here. A lot of you will know him as Loving Christian. He did change his name a few days ago, so I will allow him to say his name change. If you want to find him, he'll give his YouTube page a shout out, and if I remember, I'll try to give a link in the description box. But yeah, we're going to be debating the scriptures. So he's live on his page. As I said, he'll mention his page in a second here. Um, and yeah, we're gonna have a civilized conversation, and I hope you all enjoy.
There we go. No, I've got you on the speakers now. You're better right now. So, yeah, we're doing a bit of debate. This is Agent. He goes by the name Agent Anonymous. End Time Teachers. Me and this guy have well, brother, because that's how far back we go. We've been done many debates before, and we're going to be doing one right now. So, what do you want to start off?
Well, let's see. How about we start off with just talking about some of these cats out here? Like I wanted to address Ridge Nibbler real quick, and I want to ask, what are your thoughts on how he said that Satan is the God of the Old Testament? What do you take on that?
Well, you can see. I've said to Ridge, and as I said to you before the live stream started, why I said the stuff that I did in certain live streams. So I explained it to you. Cheers. As I said to Ridge, you gotta understand, like even I gotta accept it now. God is the way He is. He ain't gonna change. He's never gonna change. He promotes slavery. He promotes rape. That's it.
Yeah, and
We
that's one of
gotta
the, and
accept it.
that's one of the topics that these cats can't get by is Deuteronomy. The what is that? The 22nd chapter when it deals with bride kidnapping.
Exactly. Can let me know, people in the chat, if you can hear Age. Good, you should be able to hear him. That's why I have the speakers. But and exactly, I get called blasphemous. I get called a Satanist for saying that God promotes rape and that God promotes slavery and that God promotes racism. I get called a Satanist for that. Yeah, that's the truth of the Bible.
Yeah, and
Call
two
me a
points,
Satanist.
2 points to make our point clear is when you read what is that, Isaiah the 13th chapter, when it speaks about the destruction of Babylon. It says that one of the things that would happen is the woman they would be ravished. Now, what does the word ravish mean? Basically, it just means
Rape.
to be raped. Now, if you go to Genesis the 19th chapter, Lot was going to give his daughters to a group of homosexuals without their consent. So would that not be considered rape? And the Lord did not say anything to them. The Lord did not say anything to Lot for offering his daughters. So, as I said, these cats really can't get around it, man.
And that's as well. You see, even atheists, even scholars know that God promotes these things, and yet, the Christian church and all that, and religion, which we all know is a false religion to start with. Anyone that speaks out against it gets offended. It is in the Bible. It's as simple as that. And yes, God does promote it. He promotes it, and even Age knows this. He's been preaching it for years and years now. Even he knows it's the truth, and yet, I get called blasphemous. You're a Satanist. You're a Satanist.
Yeah, just like that damn cat. What's that brother's name? The Mind of God. I mean, he has been so far up on my nuts. I should call him Bond, Gold Bond.
And as well, like when I made that live stream about the mind of God, I meant what I said. I don't take it back. The mind of God, basically, he's like, we're gonna be out of here on June. Well, we're still here.
Yeah,
You're
man.
still here. What?
He said, sorry to cut
Still
you
here.
off, but he said that he retires by, I believe it was August. He said so. Amen to God. The time is ticking, man. You better hope that Christ ends up coming with that secret rapture or pre-plague rapture, as he coins it.
Which is not going to happen,
Yeah,
and he
exactly.
should know it. So, and yet he's not coming out and saying a real man comes out and admits the wrong. I've come out and admit I've wrong many times. I've admit I could be wrong about many stuff that I preached in the Bible. I admit that because I'm not above rebuke. I'm not prideful. A real person does.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still waiting for Ridge Nibbler to cut back on those false teachings. Like he's on there saying that Babylon's the Vatican, and we got to deal with that, man. We got to deal with that false doctrine. We got to cut that 6 ways to Sunday.
We got we got like Rock brings up like he always brings up and Rich always brings up all. As I said, no disrespect to him, but he always brings up all the time, oh, well, you changed your doctrine years ago every time. Well, again, it's easy to be deceived if you go outside. If you go outside the Bible, it's easy to be deceived. It's as simple as that. It's easy to be deceived. Again, the Vatican is not Babylon. Rome is not, well, Rome is the Vatican, so there's even people out there that say London is Babylon. If you go outside the Bible, of course you're going to fall for it. That's why I fell for it so many times. I said it was Saudi Arabia because if you go by the symbolism and how they hate people, of course it's going to sound like it's Saudi Arabia. Then we have the Vatican. Why I changed my doctrine to the Vatican years ago was because, again, we all know what the 7-day event is, and people that think the Vatican's Babylon go by. Oh, look, the Pope's wearing purple. Oh, he has a golden cup in his hand. Oh, the church represents a woman. That's how you fall for it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, when you examine
The
the
way
scriptures and
that
realize,
the way I look at it is the one question I always had to ask these guys is when you deal with especially Revelation 18, it speaks about the merchants who were made rich from Babylon. So nobody is getting rich by the
exactly.
Vatican. So how could that be talking about the Vatican? And just like which we got to get on this too, like that whole Sunday law nonsense.
That I've been exposing for years. I mean, because one, Sunday law ain't the mark of the beast. It really isn't.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I
I made
mean,
a point in my
did
life.
you see what I said to him in the debate? Did you see how I gave Rock upon him a spiritual KO in that debate we had?
I don't know what that's what I mean. And I saw the video. Barack upon him was basically laughing and saying, "Oh, you change your doctrine every year." Well, again, you believe in Sunday laws. You ain't really got no argument.
Hey, look, he
You think
don't know the
Sunday laws
scriptures.
are
He don't know the scriptures.
exactly. Ridge is in the chat and he says, Age, why do you focus on Mystery Babylon so much, man? That's basically what Ridge says. He's
Well,
in the chat.
okay. Let's address that. The reason why we focus on that is because the scriptures say in Revelation the 19th chapter that the spirit of Yahweh Shai, or who you call Christ, is the spirit of prophecy. So in this time that we're in right now, we are to be prophesying about these things. And what is one of the main things that has to happen is the downfall of Babylon, which is America. Now we don't totally focus on that. There's other things to talk about, but that's a very important subject to speak of. So that answers that brother's question.
So yeah, Ridge, that's Age's answer. Uh, so what else do you want to talk about? Because we are, as I said, we are going to do the debate. or do you want to continue to talk about this or get to the debate? It's up to you, man.
Let's handle one more thing before we do the debate. Well, what do we want to say about the whole slavery thing in the kingdom? You want to address that topic real quick because we have certain cats out here who just believe that when Christ
Yeah,
returns, it's just going to be peace everywhere, that there's going to be no bondage. So
exactly.
my first question is, let me read this real quick. My first question
My
that I would
first
have to ask these guys is, when you go to the last book of the Bible, right? This is speaking about when Christ returns here. I want to read this, and y'all tell me what this is talking about. And this is directed towards these cats like Ridge Nibbler and Rock Upon Him, who believe that slavery is not going to be in the kingdom. Anyway, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 26. And he that overcometh and keeps my works until the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter, so that he be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father, and I will give him the morning star. But clearly that's talking about slavery of one nation of people underneath another nation of people, and the key word is, it says, to him that overcomes what? Until the end, when Christ returns. There's absolutely no way around it that there will be bondage on earth when Christ returns. No way around it.
have you got where Jesus comes back and he starts in somewhere? That's the one that I mentioned to Ridge. It's in Jesus says, "Take everyone, and take them into your land." Basically, take them captives. In somewhere, it's near the end of the book, I believe, right near the end, where Christ says, "Oh, take them captives and take them into your land," meaning Israel. I don't know exactly where it is, but where
I'm not
this
sure
region he's
exactly
talking
either,
about.
but I've read that before. Yeah. But another good proof would be when you read, what is it, Isaiah the 60th chapter. Isaiah the 60th chapter speaks about it says the sons of strangers shall build thy walls. Now what is that talking about? That's talking about the kingdom of heaven, and that hasn't yet happened, because that's when Israel will be established as a nation. And we know those people over in Israel today are not the real Jews. Why do we know that? Because they're still having gay pride parades. So if Israel was established again, as the prophecy said, well, how are they having gay pride parades over there? And that's not directed towards anyone. I'm just, making that statement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we have to watch what we say on here because of
Yeah.
YouTube's rules.
Yeah. Salaki, I'll make sure
Oh,
I watch what I say.
right, so. And it also says it in Isaiah, doesn't it, about slavery, that the other nations shall come to you and bow down before you and give you, they shall give you their stuff.
Yeah, and
It's in
it tells
Isaiah
you that
somewhere.
in Isaiah. I believe that's the 60th chapter. I could be mistaken, but it also says that in the book of Revelation, I want to say the 21st chapter. It says that the nation shall bring their glory and honor unto the kingdom. And wait a second, that proves that there will be other nations on earth when Christ is ruling, because where are these other kings coming to bring their glory to the kingdom of heaven, if there's no other kingdoms that are on earth during the time of Christ's reign?
Right, so is that it, or do you want to talk about other topics? I'm
Yeah,
just asking, man.
I'm sure we'll bring up some other stuff, but for now we can get into the dialogue, so to speak.
Yeah.
So go ahead and hit me with a few
So,
shells.
so do you want to start first or me?
As I said, you can
Because
hit
I
me
have
with
to
a few
speak.
shells. You can start first.
Yeah. So first we'll start off with the Walmart. Into the angel, the bottomless pit. There's a start to find it. There's so many stuff here. There it is. Into the context, this is referring to Babylon. it's referring to Babylon. In Revelation 9 to 11, it talks about the locusts, and it talks about Apollyon, Abaddon. Now, we all know America uses that on NASA, Apollo. All they've really done is took away the Y in the end. Apollo. Who does Apollo refer to? The Greek god of mythology. It's, if you look into it, the so-called Greek god of mythology was basically, he was naked. He had a torch in his hand which simulates the light of the devil, some nonsense like that. To the Statue of Liberty, that's originally where the Statue of Liberty came from. That's what the Statue of Liberty has got the same torch that the Greek Apollo had, which represents the devil. That's who it refers to, the devil, because we all know America is not a Christian nation, it's an anti-Christ nation. 2, Apollo means city of destruction. That's what it refers to in Greek. So it would make sense that it would be America. It says in Revelation that we'll get to the whole scripture where it says that. And they had a king over them, angel of the bottomless pit. Now we know an angel can refer to humans or refer to someone that does justice, whose name in the Hebrew is Abaddon. Have his name. In Hebrew, the name Abaddon means place of destruction. The Greek title Apollyon literally means the destroyer. So, what is so-called the devil? Can't name the other person because, again, we all know what happens. A little bit of the name, Esau. We have to watch what we say, because if we mention too much, another strike.
Hey, we'll just say E.
Right. Because we all know the rules of YouTube, and it's pure nonsense. They break their own rules. But let's continue. So in Revelation, so the city of destruction be referring to America, because if you look into the context, it says they have a king. Who is the king? The king of the nation. The king of the nation, again, the abyss. If you read anything, like I read the book of Enoch, the abyss refers to the ocean or the sea. Also, the abyss can refer to the grave. So, in reality, he would be king over death. Now, if you go back to the scriptures, it says with Jesus Christ says, I have come to destroy him over death, which it was revealed later who it was, the devil. So, basically, Revelation Apollyon. That's why I brought up the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty is basically a recopied version of the Greek false god Apollo. It's the exact same thing, but he was just castrated. So many Americans believe that that Statue of Liberty is a female. It's not, it's a man. Greek mythology and where it originated from, it even goes back to Babylonian customs, like it goes way, way far back. The halo around the head, and it even goes back to Catholicism as well, Virgin Mary. You see Virgin Mary, so-called Virgin Mary, with a halo around its head, references to which we know these people worship the devil. And it also, the Statue of Liberty. So basically, the Statue of Liberty is the King Apollyon, because again, Apollo is the same as Apollyon. It's the same word. So Apollo, in the Greek, now we know that Rome and America and also the United Kingdom are derived from the Roman Empire. As it says, and the nation shall be divided into three parts. If you actually look into the three parts, that would add up and make sense, because there's only three nations on earth that derive from the Roman Empire: America, Rome, the United Kingdom. Those are the three nations, and you can actually trace the history back that the Romans invaded the United Kingdom. They invaded it, and there's swords all over the place to prove this. So those three nations are part of it. So and again, the locust, we got into that. The locust, this is why it all makes sense and adds up. The locust refer to, let's get that article, because so before we get into that, because I don't want it to just
You're breaking up a little bit, man. I can't hear you now. You're good now.
Could you hear?
Yep.
Right, so it's probably the connection. Right, so it's your turn now.
Okay. Well, our little interpretation is what you know, but I'll just say for the for those who are watching, when you deal with Revelation, the 9th chapter, I'll go to the top real quick. Let's see. Pretty much, we deal with this. The bottomless pit that is open is Europe, because they're known as the bottomless pit because they have a lack of resources over in the land. The locust are talking about the World War I fighter planes of the German army. And the smoke that came out of the pit represents a dark time in human history, because this is the First World War. Let's go on. Which we might get into the locusts and talk about them, but the let's see this. Let's read verse 11. It says, "And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name is the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue have his name Apollyon." Now, what is that talking about? That's talking about a German leader by the name of Kaiser Wilhelm. The word Kaiser means a king, a ruler, and basically he was the officer over this fleet of, as the scriptures say, locusts. So that's why it called him the king over these locusts.
Or not, because I think it's not.
So that's ETT's interpretation of Revelation, the 9th chapter.
Oh, we can. I'm gonna got that. So you say it's the German soldier, but if you examine the scriptures, that wouldn't make any sense, because German didn't control Germany. Was one doesn't equal. It says it's Greek. Is Greek, which German's not Greek. The Germans were not part of Greece. It says that the king goes back to Greece, which will be America, England, which England is not part of Germany.
Hold on, let's read the verse. Let's read that part. It says whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue have his name Apollyon. So it gave the name in two different languages. So it's just given an example of the definition of the name in a few different languages. You know what I'm saying? Because it said, you can't just say, well, it says Greek, but above it also says in the Hebrew. So it's given two different examples.
But the thing is, this Apollyon refers to something that is pure wickedness. Now, it says he's given the key to the bottomless pit. Now, again, Locus, now, if you know anything, like we'll get into it, this is how it all started. in the book of Revelation, people have been, so ignore all this. These are the information. I'm not going to be reading that. I'm just going to read the scriptures. So, after the seventh seal, it says, now Chernobog, you probably don't know that, but the Chernobog star wormwood is actually Russia, Ukraine. That's what it is. 3 woes, we're not going to get into that yet. Actually, we will get into it, so we're not getting into it yet, but this information.
Okay, well, let's go to the top of the chapter and let's discuss the locust, the locust. Inside joke.
Right. So before we get into that, I'm just gonna. People can look this up themselves. Who? Oh, of course, this is what I mean. It's annoying. My internet's so bad. Oh. This proves that it is America because Apollo 11, Germany does not have Apollo.
Okay, let me ask you a question real quick. Let me ask you a question. So if you're gonna sit there and say, yeah, well, see, it has to be talking about them because they used a name on something that they use. So could I then say that that the car that I believe it was the leader of North Korea, the vehicle he drives around in is named the Beast. So could I now say that the Beast in Revelation is talking about is talking about a vehicle because its name is the Beast then? And that's just a real question.
But no, what I was saying is America worships Apollo. I wasn't saying that. So Apollo, it's Apollo, not Apollyon. So Apollo is the exact same person. It's the same person. Apollo, same thing. It's the exact same thing. So again, they even use it in the movie Rocky, Apollo Creed. Thought about Apollo goes through starts with the Greeks. We'll look at the mythology. It originally started with the Greeks, so there's no way it can be Germany because again it started with the Greeks, then carried on to America because America worships Kaiser.
Let me just ask a side question real quick. Do you believe that the Book of Revelation is a 7-year period, or what is your interpretation of like the time period from say for example I don't know, let's say the 8th chapter or the 7th chapter to the last chapters?
Yeah, as it is.
Yeah, man, you're breaking up a little bit. I can't hear it right now. Yeah, sorry to those that are watching. We have a little bit of a technical difficulty.
It's so slow.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Slow. This is long. Why? Let's see if it's stupid nonsense.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Are you able to hear me?
Again. Again. What is this?
Yeah, are you there, man?
Can you actually hear me? Cause
yeah, I can hear you.
Says your connection is. Yeah. So the live stream second. Stupid.
Yeah.
It's taking this so. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm just waiting for it to. It's just been stupid.
Yeah. Were you
Home
able
reconnect
to
to
hear?
live stream.
Were you able to hear the last question I asked?
Stupid. Right, so we'll just continue. I'll just have to roll your video.
Yeah, that's all right, man. That's all right.
No, that's what I mean. It disconnected. What were you saying?
Let's see. I asked a question. Do you believe that the Book of Revelation is like a 7 year time period from, say, for example, the eighth chapter to like the last chapter? What is your take on like the time period? Like how long it would take? You know what I'm saying?
Because it's not a 7 year period because it doesn't say 1 and 2. Most of the stuff in the Book of Revelation have already been fulfilled.
Right, I agree. I agree.
None of the no. Yeah, so there we go. The connection's back. It's annoying if I open too many things. It can't close my email. If I open too many things, the connection goes trash. So let's get back to where we were. So we were talking about Apollo. So Apollo, the god of Orcus, healing, can't pronounce that word, music and art, sunlight, knowledge, herbs, and flocks, and protection of the young. So this is the history of Apollo. So of the Greek, Apollo has been recognized as a god. Music and dance, truth and prophecy, healing, the diseases, the sun and light. So again, worship at the sun, same as Catholicism. And more one of the most important and complex of the Greek gods, he is the son of Zeus. So again, this goes back to Catholicism. So again, America worships Christianity, which goes back to nonsense. Apollo is an oracular god, the prophetic deity. Apollo is the god who affords help and wards off evil. So, the averter of evil, they say it is. So, himself meditated through. Yes, he is also a god who could bring ill health and deadly plague with his arrows, the invention about him. Now, if you look at the images on, that's what they say it is. You can still hear me, yeah.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Yeah. So I had to close that page. That's what I mean if I open too many pages while doing a live stream. It lags.
Yeah,
so Apollo.
yeah.
Now if you look at the Statue of Liberty and compare it to Apollo, it's the same thing. Exactly the same thing. Right. The Statue of Liberty, this is where it originates from, the roads, and the statue of the... Now if you look up ancient, you just look up Apollo statue, you'll see an image of Apollo it's the Greeks had a king over them, and then so America has a king, in the symbolic that most of the time it doesn't actually refer to actual physical, it's not actually literal, it's symbolic. So Apollo never existed, most likely probably never existed. It was just a myth god, because that's what they say, he was a god, all this nonsense. Same with the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty is a derived, basically you could say a reincarnation or nonsense like that. It's a reincarnation of Apollo. And that's why America is built. And again, it's a Babylonian. Again, the word Babylon. So again, it started with Greek, carried on to America, where the so-called Hebrews would be, the Israelites. So, and America still used the same words. They still use the same word, Apollo, which derives from the Greek. Because the Statue of Liberty is the exact same. It's the exact same person. The same person as the Greeks worship. It's the exact same thing. It's not any different. It's the same thing. So once again, and who did Apollo represent? It represented worship of the devil. It worship of Satan himself. So and we all know America is a nation built on Satanism. So.
Okay.
Liberty is
Okay. So let's just say you're right on that. Let's just say you're right because the recorder time we're almost at 40 minutes. So I want to try to get through because I don't know how long I got. So let's move on from that. We came to a disagreement on that, but fair enough. You did show convincing information. I'm sure some who are watching will look on that. I advise them to. But now we know that. Tell me, what are the locusts talking about?
Well, that's where it connects. That's why I said that's where it connects.
Okay,
That's
has it happened yet, or did it not yet happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, again, it could have happened because, again, if you actually look into the scriptures, the military are doing it all the time. So, again, that's why I start off with the king first. The king, Apollo. Now, the locusts, as we see, ain't physical. They're not actual physical locusts. They're symbolic. So as we see, the king was symbolic. It's not actual person. It's symbolic of something else. Symbolic of something that people worship.
Okay. So just so I can get it straight, So you're saying that they're not like physical beings, they're just like spiritual things, but they're not actually in existence. Is that what you're saying?
Because again, the God of the Bible knew. That's why he calls it a pot. That's why he says the word. That's why he says the Greek. That's why he mentions Greek, because the God of the Bible knew who Apollo. Apollo is the same as Apollyon. It's the same person. God knew who Apollo was. He knew that it started with the Greeks and carried on to America. Because what other nation worships Apollo? No other nation worships it besides America. So it started with America, and then carried it. It started with Greek, the whore of Babylon, and it even says liberty right here. Liberty is the Antichrist Apollo. The Apollo refers to a fake god. What is an Antichrist? An Antichrist is someone who claims that claims to be God and denies God, and also basically denies the Son of God. There's many Antichrist. So in reality, America is an Antichrist nation just by the statue alone. So it's built, and who built it? So that's why I brought it up in the beginning. Now we'll get into the locusts. So why does it connect to America? I'm going to explain. So America, look, can you still hear me? I'm just
Yeah,
sure.
I hear you. Now, just real quick, I wanted to ask you why I have the mic. Are you saying that the locusts are not like physical things? Are they like spiritual things, but they don't have a physical, being? Is that what you're saying?
Is what I meant by it is they're not actual literal locusts. That's what actual literal locusts.
Okay, but they're like physical beings, as in the, you can actually see them with your own eye, like they exist, right?
See, that's exactly what I meant. They're not loose. That's what I meant. Literally, like, just bugs flying around.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
All right, fair enough.
Go into it.
And yeah, let's get into it.
So if you go into it, we'll bring the third woe is a bit later. But if you look into it, right now, the locust. Now, if you look into it, that's why it says there's a king. So if the king is in America, obviously the army's going to be the American army. It's obviously going to be the American army because, like you said with German, the German leader. You said the German leader would have been the king. But again, that person didn't rule Germany. It was Hitler. Hitler controlled Germany at that time. He controlled it. So there's no way, whatever name you said, Heiser or whatever, could be the king.
Well, hold on, though, because his name Kaiser Wilhelm. The word Kaiser means a king or ruler. So just by his name, it means king by definition. But fair enough.
But a lot of people's name equal king, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that, by definition of his name in general, that's what it means. But fair enough, I can respect that argument.
This is where we continue, where it gets into locusts, and it says, and there came out of the locust smoke. Now again, we have to read the beginning. Now, this could have already happened, because if you actually look into the Iraq Gulf War, most of this is, but again, who knows? But if you look up the Gulf War, basically they show it in the movie Jarhead. There's another scripture, because the scripture says the sun shall be darkened and the smoke of the furnace, basically this smoke shall darken out the sky. Now this is exactly what happened in the Gulf War. Basically the oil leaked and was burning up for days, and it made the sky night. It actually turned dark. The sun didn't give light, right? Because again, it made the sky dark. Now, if you read Revelation, that we know that you can use scripture with scripture, and not certain, like we see with certain parts of Revelation, it talks about certain events that happen in different times, in order. So it's concerned with only the 6th period, the last 3 wars. Now again, we'll get into that later, the 3 wars. Now again, the smoke of the furnace, which again, the smoke of the furnace, like I said, anyone that's read even people that don't believe in the book, Enoch, it says a furnace, basically the smoke of basically the bottomless pit, says it's like fire and the sea. Now there's an image that I have, a jet flying past. It's basically, now I'm not saying this, I'm just bringing this up, be referring to this, but again, that's why I'm bringing this up. But in this image, there's fire in the water, and it looks like basically a pit. What is a pit? A pit of smoke, a pit of fire, and the smoke's burning up, and a jet flies past. Now, the start of small being, like person right now, skip all this, and there arose a smoke out of the bottomless pit, like as the smoke of a great furnace. Now, if we go with that one, but I'm going to go with the other argument, that's why I brought this up. It could be referring to this, but I'll bring my argument up. So, right now, I forgot. So, just give me a second. I have to go get the Bible. It's right here. So, actually, where was it actually? I completely forgot. I haven't memorized it all.
What question? What are you looking for?
What?
Like a verse? Are you looking for a verse or something?
The first
Yeah, man, you broke up real bad there. I wasn't able to hear you.
I'll just look. Is that's where it's the first Trump? I don't. The first Trump. So I'll just a second, because as I said, I don't have a. I have a show. I forget things.
Yeah,
So
that's
first
I
Trump.
understand.
People out there, oh look, he doesn't memorize the Bible. Well, again, not everybody has a great memory, so
Yeah, and it's funny as well
we look it
because
up.
I'm sure the same person who will say that they themselves can't even name 10 scriptures off the top of their head. You know what I'm saying? Like a good example
That's
would be
why.
Ridge
Just give
Nibbler.
me so just give me a second while I look it up, and then I'll read from the Bible. Look it up because
Hey, look, this brother, he
don't
don't know the scriptures. He don't know the scriptures. just inside joke.
I want to start reading because you have to read right now. Persecution, that's obviously not it. There it is. Doesn't matter. No, I found it. Got it. This is why I write it down just in case I do forget things. So I can close this now. And there we go. And what's up, Dragon? I'm just talking to someone in the chat. And what's up, Benny? So, right, we're at the chapter now. So, so where does it start? Right, we got it now. We got it. And the angel. So this is where it starts. This is where it starts. And the first angel. This is where the woes start and all that. And this is why it gets into the locust. It all connects. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up. Now you can see that happen in Australia. Now we go all the way down. We go all the way down. We go down. This is where it gets into it. And the name of the star is called Wormwood of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. That happened in Chernobyl, Russia. The Ukraine, a nuclear bomb went off, basically a nuclear radiation went off, and it killed a lot of people. And that's what that star is. Because again, if you look into the words in the original Greek and Paleo-Hebrew, it says scatter across the sky, which is exactly what nuclear radiation does. And you'll notice it says made the water bitter. About Ukraine, because if you go through Ukraine now or ask a Ukrainian person, they can't drink the water bitter. There's actually a plant near that base. There's a plant near that. What is it? Yeah. What are they called?
What is it?
I forgot what they're called. They're called radiation building or something like that. It's right next to that. There's a plant called wormwood. So people say it's talking about alcohol, but it's not. So we've that's why I brought that up, because as soon as we get into the fourth angel, this is where it starts. So the first woe has already been sounded. The first woe was right now. To get the other thing. It's now. Open another one, because again, these things can add. All of them can add, like they do, but the meaning of woe, there we go. One that's new to. Yeah, we'll bring it up. Right, the woes. Because this all connects and that. it all connects. That's why you have to connect it all. So the reason I'm taking so long is because it loads. It's slow. Oh.
Yeah, I'll just let you know though we are approaching our first hour. I don't know how long my recorder will last. It could cut off in the next 10 minutes. I hope not, but I can't see the timer on it. But I'm just letting you know. Go ahead.
We've got 2 hours left, so if it does cut off, just let me know, and I'll.
Okay.
And then when you're again or something like that. And beheld. So this is where it starts. The first wall. This is where it starts. It's the first wall, judgment. So, actually, I forgot about the locust, didn't I? My bad. So let's go back to that. The locust. This is where it connects. So, as I said before, there's a king, isn't there? The king. Basically, it's not actually a literal king because no one's called Apollo. That is real. It's mythical. That's why I said it's not actually a real king. It's symbolic of a fake god who they worship. America worships so many gods. It worships Apollo, worships Osiris, or worships Ishtar, which is also the same. It's connected again, the sun god. So again, the king over them is Apollo. So again, and there came out of the smoke locusts. But these are not locusts, which, as I said, they're not literal locusts. Years ago, I actually fell for it and believed that, which I actually repented of that belief because it was nonsense. Because there's no literal locust that's 10 feet tall or however tall it says, that's literally going to come in a nation and start killing people. It's literally unreal. So that's why I said the locusts are not literal locusts. They are flying machines that looked like locusts. Now, if you look up, this is why I brought it up. Anyone in the chat, look up an attack helicopter. It's called the Black Hawk of the United States military, and you'll see it looks like a bug. So you see, these things are not literal, they're symbolic. They're symbolic of something. The God of the Bible, that's the way the God of the Bible speaks. He speaks symbolic, not literal. He'll describe something like where he says the locust had hair like a woman. That's not literal hair. It's symbolic of something else. It symbolizes something else. It's not actually literal. Some of the stuff in So again, some of the stuff, that's why I said some of the stuff in the Bible is not literal. Obviously the slavery and it's literal, but that's the way God works. He uses symbolic, uses literal. That's the way his mind is. And also that's used as a stumbling block to some people. That's why he speaks that way. Because in certain chapters, people think it's literal, people think it's symbolic. They won't know the difference.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So now you agree that the locust are talking about some type of aircraft, right? Which I teach they're talking about the World War I planes, and you teach you're talking about like World War III planes, right?
And they're talking about, they're not planes, they're helicopters.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, with that being said, what would you be able to prove to me? How could you prove to me that my belief is wrong in the scriptures? How could you show it's not talking about World War I fighter planes and it's talking about helicopters instead?
Right now. So, and one, there's many inconsistent things with them being planes because a plane does not have a tail like a scorpion. Obviously, it doesn't mean a literal. It doesn't mean it's actual real. real, basically, scorpion tail. But if you look at the black back of an helicopter, of a Black Hawk, it looks exactly like a scorpion's tail that strikes. It looks exactly like it. A plane looks like the back of a cross or something. It looks like a cross. You have the one that goes up, the one that goes down, and then the two across. It actually looks, you have the two wings at the side. That doesn't look like a tail. So that's one thing that doesn't make any sense. Two, sound like locusts. They made a engine noise. Have propellers. Planes only have one at the front, and that didn't sound like.
Well, actually, in those times, the plane, because that was the first time that these planes were used in battle. So the planes back, hold on, the planes back then were different from what we have today. Back then, you would have to wear ear protection when you're around them because it has the potential of making you go deaf because of how loud the planes were back in those times. They're not like what we have today in this time. But anyway, I just wanted to ask a question real quick. Let me just find a verse, and I wanted to hear your interpretation of this. Then, of course, I'll first give mine. Let's find a verse real quick. Okay. Verse 7, and the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were crowns like gold, and their faces are as the faces of men. Yeah, the crowns like gold. What are these talking about? We teach this is talking about, if you look up German helmets, right, you're going to find a golden helmet, which also some of these helmets, on top of them, they have long flowing, I guess one could call them strings, for lack of better words, that come off these helmets. And what does that remind you of? It reminds you of the hair like a woman. And when these men would go in these planes, there you go. They have, the crown of gold, the hair like a woman, the head of a man, and then the body of the locust. So I just want to hear your interpretation of that verse.
None of that was actually literal. The hair like a woman wasn't literal. It simulated like a tail. A hair is at the back. Again, if you actually look up, like again, and I'll look up an image.
But wait, I had to ask why you're doing that. You said it's like parabolic though, but it says right here in the 8th verse, it says, and they had hair as the hair of a woman. So it said they had something. So he's describing it as he looks at it. Now I understand that one might say, well, that's talking about something else. Fair enough. But the point of the matter is he's not parabolically saying that because he said that they had. So it clearly is referring to, like I'm not saying it's actually, human hair. I'm not saying that. But the point of the matter is it's describing a physical, thing, not spiritual or not, parabolic for something too different, so to speak, if you understand what I'm saying. So I'm very interested and hold on, I'm very interested and intrigued in hearing what on a modern day plane or I should say helicopter, as you said, what on these helicopters could represent and resemble the hair of a woman. Now I've already gave the example from my belief because the German helmets, the golden helmets, had flowing hair coming down from the top of the helmets, and y'all viewers can look it up to support that statement. But I don't really see anything in the planes in today's time that could, come close to that. Now, if you could show me, then maybe I'll change my view on it.
All right. So I can suppose and use the same logic because one, there's nothing on a plane that looks like a woman's hair. Nothing. And not every single person wore a golden helmet in World War One and World War Two. That's a fact. Though not every single one wore one. So that doesn't make any sense. So two, if you are anyone that's in the military knows that there's a golden helmet that some of the military wear. and it had the golden hair does not simulate literal hair, it simulates wires and that. That's what it simulates, because again, what does hair do? It wraps around the face, so it's not literal. It doesn't mean that, and even if it did, we can use this argument. So if you look up a attack helicopter, the green one, this is what it says in the scriptures about the locust, doesn't it? It says, wings with sound of chariots, of an army of horses drawn chariots. Now again, I proved in a video that helicopters, are a bunch of them, sound like horses running to battle. Now a plane does not sound like that. So if it was a plane, planes today sound different. Well, again, we're talking about the planes back then, so it sounded back then not like a locust, then argument of the planes today, because we're not talking about the planes today, we're talking about the planes in World War One. In World War One, they didn't sound like locusts, then it's not clearly, because they have to sound like locusts, which
Okay,
that's
okay, all
exactly
right,
what
hold on.
helicopters do.
Let's read the verse. Verse 9, it says, "They had breastplates as if it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle." Right now, I understand what you're saying, but again, as I said, I brought up the historical fact, and you viewers can look this up for yourself. That back in those times when these planes were used, you would have to have ear protection vast majority of the time around these machinery, because it's too loud. Now, I don't see anywhere on here where it says they have to sound like a locust. I don't see where it says that on here. Now maybe you can show me it, but I don't see where it says that. It says that they sounded like the sound of many horses running to battle, but there's nowhere it says they sounded like locusts.
Yeah, I'm using a point because locusts and horses. Well, I didn't mean locusts. My bad.
Yeah. Okay.
My bad. I admit, my bad.
No problem.
So
I understand.
The horses. My bad. So it says in the scriptures, and they sounded like an army of horses running into battle, right? So audio clip of a horse running, and then played an audio clip of helicopters. They sound the same. They sounded the same. Now a plane does not sound like does not sound like a horse. It literally doesn't. It doesn't sound like a horse. So, but you said, oh, they wear earplugs. Not everybody wear earplugs. So that's a fact. If you know anything about the World War One, not everybody wore earplugs. Not everyone did. Didn't want to. Because that's basically why they created an overtop in the first place. So it would block out the sound. But if you look up a clip, Alain, that you're talking about, and anyone in the chat, go look it up. Go look up a World War One Spitfire planes you're talking about, the light Spitfires. Look that up, and it does not sound like a horse. I even played multiple. Even let's use the Pearl Harbor as the example as well. They were like the same planes. Pearl Harbor, they went meow like that. That's how they sounded. They did not sound like horses. Yet these helicopters today sound like horses. They sound like horses even when they start up. The blade that rotates sounds like a horse running. So it doesn't make any sense for it to be a plane, because there's so many problems with it. One, it doesn't have a tail of a scorpion. It doesn't have a breastplate of iron, because it's not the only certain iron that is used on a helicopter. planes were made out of a certain metal. Sorry about that noise. 1 second. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. I wanted to ask you a question real quick. I want your interpretation of this verse real quick. Verse 5, and to them it was given that they should not kill them. Let me turn the page. But, hold on. But that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he strikes a man. Now, what is that talking about?
Just 1 second. The alarm's going off again. It's because my parents are cooking something.
Yeah,
so the alarm goes off.
Oh, I hear you, man. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's going off again. Just ignore it.
Yeah, well, it's all right. We'll just pretend it doesn't exist.
Give me 1 second. The connection's gone bad again. I'm gonna have to close something here. It's so annoying when this happens, when the connection just goes trash.
Yeah.
We all don't have the money to have good internet, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, man. I know what you're saying.
There we go. It's back now. It's the bit rate up down. It kind of noise times. So repeat the question again, because I really just forgot.
Okay. I wanted to know the interpretation of this verse. This is verse 5. It says, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was as a torment of a scorpion when he strikes a man. What is the interpretation of that verse?
Right, the connection's gone bad again, but I'll just tell you. Right, it keeps going good, bad, but now I'll explain it. So, what is that talking about? You said what was the scripture again?
Revelation 9 and verse 5.
Oh, it's these things around me. Basically, when things start to happen, I easily forget stuff. So Revelation 9 to what?
Verse 5.
Right, no, Revelation 9. Give me a second. It's honestly if something else happens, it's easy for me to forget something that fast.
Yeah.
Right, 9, verse 5, you said. Right, that we got it. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. That's not literal, it's symbolic.
Okay, fair enough. So let's just pass that, because I want to address these things. Let's just move on to the 2 woes. We disagree on the locust, that's fair enough. But let's move on to the 3 woes here. Now, my question to you is, it says that these plague of locusts was the first woe. So what are these 2 other woes? Does it mean that they're going to come back again, or what is that talking about?
Well, you have to look. This is why I'm going to explain what the woes are first. You have to know the meaning of the woes, or you're not going to understand it. Because woe means, to understand the context of it. So woe, what does woes mean? So the 3 woes in Revelation, this is what they mean. Sorry, what does woe mean in the New Testament? The word woe is translated to O-U-A-I. I can't pronounce the word, that's why I spelled it. The Greek word is used 47 times in the New Testament, 41 times and in 33 verses it is translated as woe. In 6 times in 3 verses is translated alas. So when basically with Babylon, alas it means the same thing. It's the same thing. Whoa, whoa. Now what happens to Babylon? It's destroyed, right? It's destroyed. So it's a judgment, isn't it? It's judgment. That's where you get the word from.
Well,
So
hold. Let me stop you there for a second. Fair enough, but I would argue and say you can't just go by what by looking up a meaning of a word that doesn't mean it actually means what the scriptures are saying. Say, let me say for an example, when you deal with the word Gentile, they'll tell you even these Bible apps that a Gentile is somebody of the other heathen nations, but we know by the scriptures that the Jews are also Gentiles. So you can't just go by looking up what a word means and always going by that, because as we agree that the scriptures are a parabolic book. So simply because, let's give another example. If you look up what Babylon the Great is, oftentimes they're going to tell you it's the Rome. Now, when the reason to bring that up is because somebody will say, okay, well I looked it up. They did the breakdown, and that's what they say it is. So I should go by what they say instead of going by, say, for example, what Yash has to say, GMS, Sakari, or something like that. So you can't just look up a word and go by the breakdown. Say for another good example, same thing with the locust. Somebody will look up the word locust and they'll see a picture of the locust and they'll go by that and say, see, well that's what the word means. So that's what it means. You can't always do that, but I understand your point.
look up the English word. I looked into the original Greek word. That's why I was going to stop you there. I looked into the original Greek word of the New Testament. Well, actually, what woe means. I looked into what it means. Alas means the same thing as woe. It means the exact same thing. A different English word. Or the Greek, as you say, you have to look up the original and the Greek to know what a word means.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Hey, you almost gave me a KO with that one. Okay, so what did you said the word means destruction, right?
Right. It's really annoying. The connection goes great 1 minute, trash the other. It once make its mind, it's right. I'll get into it. So alas means woe is the last. It means the exact same thing. It's just a different word. That's why I said Babylon is destroyed, isn't it? That's judgment. Now again, one woe's past. That means one judgment, one plague of God has been done. So again, I have to open the book. So give me a second, because we need to get the other verse. It has the verse on the page, but again, it's better. So here it is, as it says. Give me a second. One more was passed. Give me a second. But we're not talking about the locust now, so I can close out the page. Because it decides to be trash all the time. One. Oh. One stupid. I've got I got another. I'm alright. 9 to 12. There we go. I'm on the page right now. 9 to 12. 9 to 12. There it is. Where's the pen? Where's the pen? There it is. I'll mark it so I don't forget where it is. To read the Bible, I never used to mark things, so I literally have to. That's why I've started doing it. So one woe is past, and behold, now we have to go back up. So this is one plague is released. So again, this happened. You'll notice as it says below, after this, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more after, hereafter. Before we get into the rest of it, we have him. So woe means judgment, a time of distress, a time of judgment from the Most High God himself. So, as it says, woe means alas, so it's used in the same expression, basically severe calamity, a severe distress or affliction. It is used to express great grief. So that's why they say when they say after Babylon's destroyed, alas, alas, it means the same thing as woe. It means the exact same thing. Explains further. So this is what woe is. A deep suffering from misfortune, affliction or grief, calamity, misfortune, under the word sorrow, is grief or misery, which it would be. God's judgment is misery. It's not good, is it? It's not good. So the Greek word that's used is pi, which is the same word as alas. So that's what it says, alas. So the word alas, when it's expressed, means basically judgment. It means judgment, great distress, and that's why it goes into. So the where O is rendered alas, it says in Revelation, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying alas, alas, which means woe, woe. That great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So it reveals it in the same scripture. It reveals this judgment. So that's what woe is. So one judgment is past, two more come after it. This is the time of when God has said, I've had enough, I'm releasing judgment now. This takes place right after the fifth seal. So judgment from the Most High himself. So after the fifth seal, basically the seal and the angel, same thing. Basically the same thing as wrath. It says, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more up. And the six angels, so how many angels is there? One is the fifth, is the sixth, the seventh, it's over. And it's a command. So people will think, oh, one woe, that's it. No. As soon as one woe happens, another one comes and another, and that's God's judgment. His judgment comes upon the world, and he's right, plague, release another, and release another. And then people blaspheme him, as it says in the scriptures, as it goes into it as well.
All right, fair enough. I mean that's a logical conclusion, I suppose. You know, and I would say probably many people watching would agree with what you're saying. Fair enough. But I'm gonna say this. I think we should move on to in the same chapter. Let's deal with the 200 million army. Now you already know what our teaching is. That this is talking about an army of nuclear missiles. And what is your teaching?
Well, there's not just nuclear missiles, because there's not. You actually read the context and you actually look up how many nuclear missiles there is in the world. There's not 200 million, so it can't be talking about just missiles. It's missiles and armies. That's what it is. The armies of the world. Most high.
Let's explain it this way. Each missile has multiple different warheads inside of the missile. Now let me say this. Well, hold on. When I say this, I know that there's not 200 million individual missiles nor 200 million warheads that exist. However, that is the amount that he wrote down. That amount may not be correct in real time, but since he just heard it, he saw them, so he described them as 200 million. But it doesn't mean it was actually that amount. You know what I'm saying?
That would mean he got the prophecy wrong. That's because It says 200 million. It's an
Okay.
army.
Okay. So
Again,
what army
the
is this?
free army, again, if you go to this is a question to you. What are the three angels in the river Euphrates? What are they?
What are the free angels? The free angels, as far as our teaching goes, they are physical angels. Now they're not
No,
actually. Go ahead.
wrong. That's wrong. You got that one wrong. It's not. It's nuclear missiles. Three of them. Because
Okay,
you
hold,
notice
hold
they
on,
deep
hold
in.
on. Let's read the verse. Let's read the verse. It's verse 15. It says, "And the four angels." Oh, you wait a second. Didn't you say three? It's actually four.
No, I meant four.
Oh, okay. Fair
That's
enough.
what.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway. Let's read the verse. Let's read the verse. Verse 15. It says, "And the four
Let me
angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay the third part of men." Yeah,
Yeah.
the four angels, they're physical
Where are
angels, but they're prepared to release
they?
the
Not.
go ahead.
Where are they? Read the location where they are.
Let's see.
Because it says in scriptures. And that's where you get it from.
Yeah, it says bound in the great river Euphrates.
There you go. Where is that?
Well, you see, when you deal with that, they're not physically there. Like you can't, like the whole thing with the whole,
Oh,
the Nephilim, right? Which that's another topic. But same thing when you deal with that. They're not actually bound like the angels that it says are bound, like physically bound under the earth. That's not physical. The angels that are bound on the earth, in that scripture, we're talking about the children of Israel. But that's another topic of discussion. So we're not going to get into that. But it's not literal, like they're not literally chained there. They're just in that region, prepared for the day of judgment.
I know that it's not talking about angels. That's why, because this is where it is. The river Euphrates is in Turkey. What are they? What are they? 4 missiles in the river Euphrates. Why do you think the river dried up? The river dried up. The missiles are there. The missiles are there, 4 of them, ready. They've been made. They're waiting there. Now we know an hour, a day, can be 1,000 years in the scriptures.
Yeah, that's
So
it. That's it. What is that? 1 Peter 3:8.
They're waiting there to be released in World War III.
I think that's a good argument. That's a good argument. I suppose that's valid. So anyway, now we came to that conclusion. Let's move on to verse 16. Just the internet's been giving us a couple of technical difficulties. Yeah, I'm here, man. Can you hear me?
Cut you off a bit. Repeat that because it.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I said now that we came to that conclusion, let's deal with verse 16, and let's pretty much just deal with the rest of the chapter. So we'll go to verse 16. You can start to read it.
Before we get it.
Okay.
Before I'm saying, so people say it's fallen angels. No, it's not. People think it's literal angels. Now, again, if you know anything, certain, and again, Gog and Magog, again, it refers to Gog and Magog. Now, if you know anything, Magog refers to Turkey and places like Iraq and Syria and or Iran. Now, there is 4 missiles. Who are they going to make war with? They're going to make war with anyone that's around them. So again, there's 4 missiles waiting. So you see, it's symbolic. It's not actually literal angels sitting there waiting to be released. It's missiles. Missiles. Because there is no four angels. in the River Euphrates. That's pure nonsense. It's nonsense. It's talking about 4 missiles. There is 4 missiles in the River Euphrates waiting to be just released onto whoever basically pisses the Muslims off. That's what it's talking about. 4 missiles are bound. The missiles are bound. They're not allowed to be. That's what bound means. They're not allowed to be released. So they're bound there. The River Euphrates that's why the river dried up in the first place, because that's where the missiles are now. And there's actually actual images of these missiles there. And image ones. You can just look it up. So,
as I said, that's a fair enough conclusion. I can see why you would say that. I mean, I can't really refute that. So I'd say that's a valid argument. I'll look into that information. Fair enough.
Like many people think that, like with the angels of, like I explained to you as well, the spirit's not actually an angel, is it? It's symbolic. It's the same thing now and again. It's not an actual angel. It's symbolic. So the angel at the bottom of spirit's not an actual angel, is it? Some certain stuff in the book of Revelation is symbolic, certain things. Obviously, the one is physical, slavery is physical, but certain things are symbolic, like the on the forehead, symbolic, and saved. That's what it means. Yeah, many things are symbolic, and some things are literal. That's what we got to understand. It's the way God speaks. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, let's deal with the 16th verse. Let's pretty much deal with the rest of the chapter because we're almost done with it anyway. So I'll read the verse then. Unless you got it with you.
What verse is it?
16.
So it's Revelation 9, right?
Yes.
It's a good thing to put a note there. Just get into it now. So, there it is, Revelation. You said verse 12, didn't you?
No, 16 to pretty much we'll just read the rest of the chapter, but we can start at 16.
Alright, 16. So, and the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day, for to slay the third part of man. Now again, these missiles would destroy let's start in Revelation. So this talks about a star falling from heaven, and then there's another one that talks about another star. One of them is a nuclear missile, a nuclear bomb going off. It's a nuclear bomb. So, same thing. And the number of the army, of the horsemen, it's an army. There you go. And the number of the army, horsemen. So again, it's an army.
Yeah, but the I agree that it's an army, but the topic of discussion, or I should say topic of debate here, would be what is this army of horsemen? Now we know today there's no actual horsemen that are riding around the earth, so it's obviously a parabolic thing to speaking of something else. So the topic of discussion is what is this army talking about? So it's not an argument. Go ahead.
Symbolic.
Right, I agree, but what are they talking about? What are they?
I told you, it's talking about the armies that have the. It's basically the almost nearly all the armies of the world, because there's no literal physical army, and again there's no literal, because you look at it, there is no physical equal basically 200. You say it's 200 million, but it's 200,000. There's no 200 million missiles. It has to be what it's talking about. So 200 million is literally talking about armies and probably the missiles at the beginning. Armies of the earth and basically all the armies that are fighting against one another, the nations, and the nuclear missiles as well.
Okay. Fair enough. So let's read verse 17 then. It says, "And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of a lion, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone." Now, what is this talking about?
It's talking about the army. First, it talked about the army. Then it talks about the missiles. Those are the missiles. That's why I said it is the missiles and the armies.
Yeah, but it says it's describing the horses here. So what are these horses? Is what we got to understand.
Well, the nuclear missiles, obviously.
Yeah. So therefore, it refutes that statement. It can't be talking about the armies because it focuses on the horses for the rest of the chapter for the most part. It doesn't really reference this other army. It just talks about the horses. So therefore, by that, we know that the army is talking about this army of horses, which we know by reading what I read there about the fire. You know how they had fire came out of their mouths, smoke and brimstone. We obviously know that's talking about missiles. We both agree to that. But again, though, it couldn't be talking about an actual army of men.
Again, that refutes the statement. That refutes the statement as well. That proves what. Because again, what I was saying a minute ago, that those so-called four angels, these are the same. They're the same thing. Those are missiles. It proves what I said. They are missiles, because you just said it goes into context again. Angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, and then it says, "And the number of the army," basically, of the horsemen were 200,000. So basically, these so-called angels have considered a army. They're considered, because why does it just come out and say an army? It doesn't make any sense. And it says the same thing. It says the same thing that it says in the next chapter. By these was the third part of the same thing before that. More to slay the third part of men. Is the third of mankind. Angels are nuclear. If you read it, it says all of it could be all of it. Angels are nuclear missiles. It's not literal angels. So as I said, I might be wrong. It might all be nuclear missiles.
Okay.
All of it.
Let me stop you there real quick. Let me just read these two verses, and then we'll elaborate on that. Verse 18: "By these three was the third part of man killed, by the fire, by the smoke, and by the brimstone. which issued out of their
Famous
mouths.
for
Hold on,
dying.
for their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails are like unto serpents, and they had heads, and with them they do hurt. Now again, my argument is it's all the army is only an army of missiles. It can't be talking about men as well, or other types of machinery, like say for example the attack helicopters. It can't be talking about that because it focuses the whole point on how people were killed by these things, these horses that shot fire out of their mouths by brimstone and smoke, which that's not
Nuclear
talking about men.
missiles. Horsemen, it's not literal horsemen like it said with the angels. They're not literal angels.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Missiles.
Absolutely. So I mean, pretty much, we both came to the same agreement on that. So that's good. That's good.
These hookers, these are completely different to those. These are horses. They're not the locusts.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. They're not. But again, here's what I don't know if you agree or disagree. But the top part of Revelation. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Hold on. The top part of Revelation, according to us, is talking about another time period. But then this part's talking about another time period. Now I don't know. According to you, is this talking about like the same event? I don't know what your take on that.
It's the same event. This is World War III, like I said.
Okay, well, I got a question for you then. I got a question for you because the locust was the fifth angel, but then the army of horsemen was the sixth angel that sounded. So they're two separate events going by the.
No, it's not. Yeah, but those before plagues, judgment of World War III is part of judgment of God. And as you said as well, God creates nuclear missiles, so He allows it to happen. Woe means a great distress.
Yeah, now we teach that this army of missiles is talking about World War III there. However, we don't teach that the top part with the locust that was the First World War according to our teaching. But I can respect what you're saying.
That doesn't make any sense as well because I can use the same argument because one, if that to before is World War One, then World War III, where's World War Two?
Well, when you read, say, for an example, Revelation, the 11th chapter, it makes a reference to the second woe. Now, it doesn't go into detail on it, but we understand that the locust was dealing with the First World War because we can take it, compare it with the history, and then it even says that this is the first woe. Now, if it was to say this is the second or third woe, then we would have a problem because then it would seem, weird. But it's because it says the first woe. And now we know that there are three world wars, and we all know that that's the Illuminati's plan, is to have three world wars. It perfectly makes logical sense to say that the three woes is talking about three destructions.
Third World War is actually the people versus the government. So, a world war. So that's their
Okay,
plan.
I would have to ask you a question then. When you read, and this is opposite from what we're talking about now, but when you read about Revelation, the 17th chapter, it says that the beast he shall hate the whore and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So what is that talking about then?
Is the same person as the eighth, which is referred to an antichrist, basically someone that basically it's a nation that hates America. It could be Europe. It doesn't really matter because it doesn't change the matter of the fact.
Yeah, hey, man. You know what? Let's do this. We're gonna move in. We're gonna move on to a couple other topics because I soon I do gotta go, but I want to handle some other stuff. But just so I know, is there anything else you want to handle in Revelation the 9th chapter before I move to another page in the book? We pretty much addressed the whole chapter. There's really not much more that needs to be addressed on it.
And I'll prove up the things World War II, World War III, which doesn't make any sense. It literally doesn't make any sense. So it says one war. So we'll go all the way back. It's not that. It's the previous chapter. Because you say it's World War One, World War Two, World War Three. Yet in the previous chapter it says the complete opposite. So, where's the first angel, the second angel, the third? Where's the fourth angel? Well, it's this as well. This is an argument that I can use. So this proves that woe in the New Testament does not mean what you think it means. Because, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. So as the third part of them was darkened, that never happened in World War One. This is the third part of the first war. That never happened in World War One.
What angel was it?
But it happened. It says the fourth angel. This is the start of it. This is before. It uses the same word, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, so but the problem I have with that is when you go to Revelation 9, the first chapter, it says, and the fifth angel sounded. So the fourth angel and the fifth angel are two separate events.
Yeah. Well,
so how could...
The event that happens before... These are all the plagues. So again, the first one, the second one, the third one, then the fourth one, then the fifth one is when God unleashes war. This was World War One, World War Two, and World War Three. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Fair enough. So what you're really saying in a nutshell, right, is that Revelation 9 is talking about the Third World War, correct?
It is. It's World War Three.
Okay, so in other words, the fifth angel is the Third World War, right?
So yes, but the fourth angel is basically the start of it. What starts it off?
So what is the sixth?
Because you notice it basically says, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the star of the moon, and the third part of the stars, as the third part of them was darkened, and they shone not for a third part of it. Now, if you know anything, this actually happened in the Gulf War. This actually happened in the Gulf War. So if this was the Gulf War, this can't be World War One. The next previous chapter can't be World War One. It can't, because this is based. That's why I brought that up in the beginning. So this, because the thing before it is a wormwood star, which again, that's talking about Ukraine. That's what that's talking about. The next one is talking about it, and it says, and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe. So woe means judgment. So this angel saying judgment, judgment, judgment. Not World War One, World War Two, World War Three. So when it says woe, woe, woe in the next chapter, it means the same thing. This angel is basically confirming it. Again, precept upon precept. Means judgment, 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 great grief, great destruction. That's why it says in the New Testament with Babylon, alas, alas. It means woe, woe. It means judgment, judgment, judgment to you, Babylon.
Okay, all right. I would say that's a good argument. I can see why you would believe that. But anyway, you know, we're approaching 2 hours here, so I don't got too much time left. But I wanted to see if is there any other topics that you want to address why I'm on here, like anything that we teach that you disagree with, or anything in the scriptures that you wanted to address other than Revelation, the 9th chapter.
Well, there's not really anything.
Okay, well then with our time remaining, I suppose we could always talk about these certain cats out here and how they're going off. I suppose we could always do that.
Well, look, honestly, before that, I just want to finish and prove that what
Okay.
I'm saying is what it's talking about. It says you prove all odds of the bad things. So, so it is structural. That go to the fifth angel. After the fifth angel, it says, and in those days, it says, angel now. There's the fifth angel. Fifth angel. It's again. Fourth. And there's the fifth. And the fifth angel sounded. Forgot about this. I went past it. So after the fourth one, this is what it says. And behold, and I heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet. So that completely debunks of World War One, World War Two, and World War. This says there's four more. It basically says this is what it says. Voices of the trumpet left. So in your logic, if this was World War One, World War Two, World War Three, World War One, then there's three more. There's four more to happen, four more world wars to happen in your logic, because it says there, well, it says three. That means that if this is World War One and you say it's World War One, then there's already been one war that's passed. So why is there three more? That means there'd be four world wars, which doesn't make any sense. So, which are yet to sound. So these are the trumpets. This is not World War One, World War Two, World War Three. It's the trumpets. And we'll continue. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven onto the earth. And to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of the great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the reason of the smoke of the pit, and there came out the smoke locusts. That never happened in World War One. No, the sun wasn't darkened, so this makes no sense. No sense at all. If this was World War One, the sun would have had to been darkened, and the sky would have been completely darkened. This didn't happen in World War One, but it happened. One event did happen in the Gulf War. It happened in the Gulf War. The sun was turned dark and turned black like sackcloth. So this is literally not making any sense. If it was World War One, it's not making any sense, because in World War Two, it didn't happen in World War Two either. So this is not making any sense. Your doctrine's not making any sense at all. It's making none. Let's put this back here. So you'll notice that there's three more to be sounded. There's three more. So your logic that you teach, there's going to have to be three more world wars. Going by, there has to be three more. So if there's not three more world wars and there's only one more, then that doesn't make any sense. It's not adding up. Because again, it's not World War One, World War Two, World War Three. It's Judgment One, an event. Judgment Two is an event. Judgment 3 is an event. World War 3 is an event, but it's not going to be as long as people think it is, because you got to think of it. If nuclear missiles are flying all over the place, they're quick, very quick. The World War 3 is not going to last very long. Just imagine it. Nuclear missiles coming from every country. It's going to kill a lot of people. A lot of people are going to be dead very quick. And then along along comes whatever agenda's next. Because again, it also says that the Most High will return and will, while this is going on, to fight these people. So that literally doesn't make any sense. World War One. So let's continue to prove that it is.
Here, hold on, man. You cut off at the last part there. All I could hear is prove what it is. Go ahead and say it for me real quick.
Oh. To repeat, because you were kind of cutting out as well.
Okay, I said I didn't hear the last part you said. Did you ask me to explain something or what happened?
I was just saying this. I was saying that the wars is not World War One, World War Two, World War Three. So, what did you hear? Just
I heard all that. I heard all that. You just cut off at the end. But anyway, man, as I said, we dealt with that topic for a good hour and a half. I would say, I hear what you're saying, but I mean, there's certain things that I shown where don't make sense with what you're saying, but then you showed things that supposedly don't make sense with what I'm saying, and I can respect that. We'll leave the audience to be the judge on that issue. Hey, for those who are watching, you can put either hashtag, what would you change your name to, man?
The King Lion.
Okay, so yeah, if those are watching, you can decide who won. Either you can put hashtag ETT or hashtag Lion, and then we'll decide that. We'll pretty much, we explain why we, both see differently on Revelation, the 9th chapter. We'll deal with some other stuff before we go. But yeah, y'all can be the judges. You've seen the information be brought out. I will give it to my brother here. He did give out a lot of good information. I'll say that is true.
Let me close this page. Close the page because it's the connection to you have to repeat yourself. When it's better. This is what I mean. It's annoying. Right now, repeat yourself. It's fine now.
Yeah. I said, for those who are watching, they can, decide down below by either, saying ETT, hashtag ETT or hashtag Lion to decide who won. As I said, we both pretty much, shown our points on why we believe that, each other are wrong with with the chapter breakdown. It's up to the audience, who y'all want to believe. But my brother here did show a lot of good information revolving why he believes, what he believes about Revelation 9, and I did the same on why I believe what I believe. So the audience, you can be the judge. Y'all audience viewers can be the judge of it. Okay, but yeah, anyway, man, I respect that we both came on here to debate. We kept it civilized. A couple times you had to fire a few shells, of course. But hey, I've been hit by a few shells and I'm still walking with Ligma. Inside joke. But anyway, is there any other topics or discussions about the scriptures you wanted to talk about?
What do you want to talk about?
Let's just deal with some of these cats on like the comment boards, man. Like just give your interpretation or why you think Ridge Nibbler is wrong with saying that Satan's the God of the Old Testament. We addressed this at the beginning of the stream, but let's dive a little bit into it while we got some time.
Well, why I believe he's wrong, because again, this is proven with scripture why he's wrong, and using the Bible against his logic. One, Testament. We all know what he promoted. He said that rape was okay, that he said that slavery was okay, and of course you have stupid idiots in the comments, and you're being blasphemous. But again, these people really don't know anything anyway, so you virtually don't have an argument to begin with. But the God of the Old Testament promoted rape, he, he chose one nation, so isn't God a racist?
Yeah, yeah. As I said, these are just stumbling blocks. But one way that I responded to him, which actually I want to address this real quick and just get your thoughts on it. One way that I proved that Satan is not the God of the Old Testament is I showed a verse, I believe it's Job chapter 2, where Satan went to the Most High and had a conversation with the Most High. So if Satan is the God of the Old Testament, how can in the same verse it said that Satan said to God, therefore implying that there are two separate entities? So what would your thoughts on that be? I would say that's absolute KO right there. Another, um,
As
go ahead.
said, I can just use my own logic because I've read, well, again, it is a different pill anyway. One, he said when he's coming back, he's taking people into slavery and he's going to start killing people. Let's be real now, that's what the scripture says, and yet, so that kind of destroys his argument straight away that Jesus is not like the Father. I have to wait again because of the connection. Honestly, I'm gonna reset the router tonight. I'm gonna reset it because it shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, man. But another thing I wanted to mention that totally refutes this information that Ridge was saying let me say this, if Satan was the God of the Old Testament, Jesus, or his real name Jehoshai, he said in the book of Revelation chapter 1 and verse 18 that he has the keys of hell. So if Satan is the God of the Old Testament, how does Christ have the keys of hell then?
Exactly. I honestly don't know why the connection keeps going unstable. Nobody's even on the internet. It's just doing it on purpose.
Hey, that's just Satan for you.
Well, as I said, there's other things that cut his own doctrine because one, Jesus is going to murder people. That's just the fact. Jesus said in his own words, "Bring my enemies before me, so I may slay them." So that kind of cuts his doctrine because he says that Jesus wouldn't hurt anyone. Jesus wouldn't do that, and Jesus is not like the Father. Yeah, if Jesus wasn't like the Father, then why is Jesus saying he's going to take people into slavery? And then in the New Testament, in Revelation, the Father says, and start slaying people. And again, Jesus is dancing in blood. His robe's full of the blood of the wicked. Oh, but Jesus is a different person. Jesus is a different person. And Old Testament as well cuts his own doctrine. One, Jesus was with God in the beginning of creation. So, God, if Satan was the God of the Old Testament in his logic, who was Satan in the beginning? That doesn't make any sense. I thought so-called Jesus and God were opposed to the devil. So why would he be Satan, I'm just going to sit here and be with you in heaven. Why would Satan be in heaven even anyway? As he's going to be.
Yeah, another false teaching that Ridge Nibbler teaches is he teaches that it's okay to break the commandments, and he uses for his proof is he said, why did Jesus tell the woman in the book of Matthew that go and sin no more? He didn't stone her for committing adultery, so he said, see, that means the laws are done away with.
One second. And exactly. Logic, I proved that in a live stream that it's nonsense. I have to stop. There we go again. It goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Yeah, there's only one page.
Man, did you watch the entire debate that me and Rock had?
Yeah, I watched the entire debate.
And what were your thoughts on that? I mean, who won? Hey, who won? Who's next? You decide. Tell me your commentary on that.
Well, to be honest, with Rock, law is nothing but nonsense. So he really has no argument there. Rock upon him goes over. Stuff did he bring up? Because it's been a while since I watched it.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. I had to eat popcorn as I watched that debate.
I basically watched it at night or something. Watched all three of them.
Yeah, and we came to the conclusion. We came to the conclusion that Andrew Ashby must be smoking Crackula. Inside joke.
Joke that you made. Oh, he's gonna jump out of the sky.
Yeah. Hey, let me say this, man. I don't know if I told you this yet, but I actually have another debate me and Rock Upon him had that I did not release yet.
Hey, Biden. Mario.
Oh yeah, Mario, that damn devil demon.
I see.
Hey, let me say this, man. Let me say this. Go ahead.
And what Ridge told you, because I know it was Ridge anyway, but what I said in the email to the message to him was, I'll be honest what I said, I find it funny that Age is debating you, but he's not debating me, but obviously sending messages to the wrong account.
Yeah. What happened was, man, as I was sending the comments or the messages to the Loving Christian account, I didn't know that wasn't the right one, and I honestly been sending them there for months. So I thought that maybe you blocked me, because the first part when I looked, I was blocked, but then I must have been looking at an older account. So it was just a misunderstanding. I apologize about that. But go ahead.
Or maybe you were emailing the troll accounts, because there's many troll accounts that have my name.
Yeah, same here.
I only have one. Well, I don't have one email, but my main email is Christian Dove Truth. That's what it is.
Now I will say this: that debate I had with Ridge, I actually recorded that I recorded it 2 months ago. So that's an older recording. I just didn't release it because I forgot that I had it. So it wasn't like I did that yesterday, but it's been there for a while, like older than the one me and Rock Upon him had. But anyway, getting back to the Rock Upon him video, I mean, you can clearly see that Rock Upon him he's just soft. As I say, I love the brother, but I mean, he doesn't know much. He doesn't know much.
Yep. It seems they can. Honestly, I'm really gonna have to reset this rework, because it's probably because I'm doing it while doing the live stream. It's gone back to normal now. I'll basically put the speaker there. So, and exactly, there's another thing with Ridge Speaks. Basically, that's what I said basically that's all it was it was just a misunderstanding. I said, why isn't he messaged me? But obviously I've realised now you were messaging me, but the wrong account. It's just all a misunderstanding.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about that fart troll incident. Have you seen that dude around lately?
I don't pay attention to it. I honestly hardly watch anyone's channels, because I'm too busy.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. You just can't be bothered with the nonsense. I mean, once in a while the dude will make his resurgence, inside joke, but I mean, it isn't like every single day like it used to be 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
If you actually look at upper account, the name, but there's an account called A Call for a and it was active a year ago trolling. I don't know. And they were doing the same thing to over a year ago. So, but just look it up, and it's got your face as the profile picture.
Maybe you can send me a link to it just to save me the time.
I'll see if I can find it. Give me
I
a
seen the
second.
other day somebody took and I seen this when it first came out, but I found it again. Somebody took the picture of me and what was her name? Not Izzy Pop. No, not him. It was LPS Music Girl. You remember her?
How did he get a picture of that? Oh,
I don't know what he did. Is he took a picture of our faces and he put it on some type of porn video, and just put our faces over the people in the video. And hey, look, man,
someone's from
that dude
as
has
well.
to be smoking Cracula. Inside joke.
It's funny that I like to mention the person's name, but this is how you know that certain one. How many years has Cole Casper said, "Oh, get off the internet"? And yeah, if you watch,
Hey, what it comes back to, man, is these cats on here just they he don't know what scriptures. He don't know the scriptures.
he was saying that he was watching a TV show and he watched a TV show that you let not loading.
Man, did you see any of my videos lately?
Right. Which ones?
Did you see did you see I said I was working on that new book?
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, man, I'm about halfway done with it.
You should write in the book. I in the book. I have a called Andrew Ashby that keeps saying I'm being paid by Mario, and then you should write in it. Oh, he jumped out of the sky and said, "See, he's being paid by Mario."
Yeah. As I said in the stream to Rock Upon him, I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Ashby was to jump down from the sky and say, see, ETT, Yasha, and Rock Upon him are in some type of cult being paid by Mario. Hey, listen, man. I would pay that to see that brother's face when he clicks on the video and sees ETT Yasha and Rock Upon him right next to each other in real life. I would pay money to see that.
Like he's probably got a red face.
Yep. I'm surprised I don't see 900 videos about that.
He's probably like, oh, this guy paid by TVC Mario. Definitely, I knew this guy was right. And remember that time when you were just moving your finger in a certain way, and he says, "Oh, see, he's flipping me off."
Oh, I mean, and that's old news now. What he's doing now is 9 months ago. 9 months ago, I uploaded a video where I had to put the camera down and aim it up at me because that's the only way I could hold the camera. And what he did is say, see, he's at his old tricks again, putting the camera in a way to make you look up to him. Like I literally sat there. He must think I literally sat there and thought to myself, let's put the video camera down so they had to look up at me. I mean, come on. It's like this brother, he has to be mentally unstable or something. I mean, at this point, it's like, I mean, Jesus, man, even emotes are snoring.
I'm not being rude here or interrupting you. I'll be right back. I'm just going to the bathroom.
Yeah, you're fine, man. You're fine. Take your time. All right, I'll just put that on mute real quick while my brother, loving Christian, goes to the restroom. Um, so as you can see so far from this conversation, pretty much, yeah, we've kept it civilized pretty much the whole time. I can respect this brother's views on the scriptures. I feel, as if he's going on. Let me think of where I'm looking for. Going off would be a good word. On Revelation, the ninth chapter, you know, we know from reading the scriptures that Revelation 9 is talking about the First World War, is what Revelation the ninth chapter is talking about. But I guess we could say, respect this man's view, because I can see he clearly knows some stuff about the scriptures more than Rock Upon him. Oh hell yeah, more than Rock Upon him, more than Ridge Napper, right? More than that day damn devil demon Andrew Ashby. I'm gonna have to get his opinion on what's that demon's name? Faithful Servants of Christ, and then the arch nemesis. What's that dude's name? The Sovereign Israelite. I mean, those dudes, they should be in some type of damn cult. I mean, you got that damn cracker on there. Um, what's the guy's name? I just said it now. I can't remember. Um, uh, Sovereign Israelite saying that the mark of the beast isn't the microchip, and that Babylon's the Vatican. I mean, it's just. I mean, come on. These guys have to be smoking Cracula at this point. All right. And for those of you who don't know, I want to say 3 years ago, me and loving Christian, we did have a good 3 hour debate. But yeah, with the video's not on YouTube because I lost it with our channel pages. But yeah, it's always good to have a conversation with the brother. Again, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, I think he might be back now. Whenever he starts to talk, I'll take my mic off mute on the chat.
I'm back.
Okay. I wanted to ask about what is your view and what is your take on this day damn devil demon sovereign Israelite?
I've watched that guy before saying nonsense over and over. Every single live stream don't let the Catholic Church tell you that. I can't mention the word.
Hey, let me say this, man. Let me say this. Let me just name a couple outrageous. Let me name a couple of outrageous things he believes. One, he says the Vatican's Babylon. Two, the mark of the beast is not the microchip. Three, a soul doesn't exist. Four, that he is the #1 educator and most feared debater in the world. Just to name a number of things that devil says.
It's just laughable because if he's the #1 feared debater, why does he have to charge people? If he could easily destroy people, then why does... And whoever pays money to debate someone is a clown.
You know how much he charges, man? He charges $100 an hour. I kid you not, $100 for 1 hour. And there's idiots out there who actually pay him that.
Exactly. I mean, then again, there's people that will do stupid.
And the only thing I can say about that guy is that he's smoking Cracula, and he doesn't know anything. He don't know the scriptures.
I actually got what I ordered and finally got the game, The Last of Us.
And how much you pay for that?
And you're gonna have some clown out there. Just proof that you're a Satanist, you're playing games. And that's the funny thing, that these same people like watching TV shows and yet call me out. But the price for it, you can't get £50 for it. It's 2 discs. It's 2 discs.
Yeah,
It's
that's not bad. Me and Rockapanen, we used to play Bullet Force and PUBG together. You know, like 2 years ago.
I've never actually played PUBG because one, they're dead by daylight, but there's too many games out there today that are online that I want to play. I used to play Resident Evil Resistance, and that game just got boring quick, very quick. It got really boring. It was repetitive.
Yeah. But
There's nothing
yeah,
new in it.
man. You know, is there any other topics you want to handle? Cause I gotta get going in a couple minutes here.
Um, and let me just question. Connection, we can hear you. Well, again, yes, it's a bad connection. Nothing I can do about it. Not everybody has the money to. They can't afford
Good
which is
quality internet, so to speak.
here. It costs like 30 or 50 pound a month. Nah, not everybody has the money.
Hey, look,
You
man.
have
As I
to.
said, I would consider myself rich if I had $300 left over.
Unlike over here in the United Kingdom, it goes higher and higher and higher. It becomes ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
What do you think
you,
about the vigilant soldier? You remember him?
yeah, I noticed he was making a. He made a video and he's struggling with alcoholism. It's not easy. Me, I got no problem with alcohol. I drink. I a couple of days ago, and you're gonna have people all there. Oh look, he's sinning.
Well,
Again, alcohol's
wait
not
a
sin.
second. Well, wait a second though. Even Christ spent his time in the wine press. So for these guys who want to talk about drinking wine and alcohol is wrong, well, Christ spent his time drinking it. So how do y'all get around that? For one, Genesis 49:12, his eyes shall be red with wine, his teeth shall be white with milk. And then you go to Isaiah the 63rd chapter, and then it says that Christ spent his time in the wine cellars. So how can these guys get around that? And no, it isn't talking about grape juice.
Exactly, and that's another thing with oh rich, oh um, the amount of things that Jesus did as well, and says, oh Jesus, why? And that's the thing. Oh, Jesus is not like the Father. It completely contradicts the New Testament as well, because one, if Jesus were, then why does Jesus? Is Jesus the metaphor, basically the mediator? No one comes to the Father but through the Son. So if Jesus was against the Father, well, they say that there's another Father as well, that there's three. That doesn't make any damn sense.
Yeah, it's totally just
Sense.
laughable.
Basically, basically as well, the Christians as well think that Lucifer exists. No, they don't. It's nonsense. Lucifer is a false translation. It's not even a character. It's not a person. It's not Satan. Lucifer, it just means light bearer. That's all it means. And even the scholars admit that king of Babylon. But that's how you know certain things are expressed in symbolism. Like again, Lucifer represents somebody in a high place. Again, Babylon was in a high place. Damn, this is like 95 damn gig.
Yeah, but anyway, man, I gotta get going. I want to thank you for having me on your page. For those who are watching, if you want to find me, ETT Asha, you can go to my YouTube page, End Time Teachers. That's capital ETT, or End Time Teachers. But yeah, thank you for having me on here. Maybe in the future, sometime we can have another discussion. But is there any other words you want to end out with saying?
Oh, because it's getting late as well. So ending it myself as well. So
Okay. And hey man, make sure you keep this video up, man. Don't go going and deleting it.
delete. Someone basically asked me yesterday, "Oh, why'd you delete live streams all the time?" And the first thing I said, "It's my channel. I'll do what I want." And I said, certain videos where I mention certain stuff, I'd like, if I get another one, I won't be able to upload for. And again, the strikes don't go away for at least 3 months. Yes,
Right.
you can still upload after 2 weeks, but again,
Yeah, but yeah, man. It was good. It was good to talk to you for a while. We haven't had a physical chat for I want to say what, well over a year or so.
probably more
Yeah,
than
I
that.
would say it could even be over 2 years since we've had a conversation on the phone. So yeah, man.
Well, you
It's go ahead.
got my email. Well, you got the right email now. Anyway, you can message me anytime.
Yeah, man. As I said, I don't know my schedule. I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm only available at certain times. So we'll try to work stuff out. But just so I know, what time is it over in where you're at right now? Here in Babylon the Great America, it's 12:20. What is your time?
Well, over here it's 17, 19, well, 17, 20 around. I'm not good at telling time. That's why I failed in school.
Yeah.
Probably about 6 or 7 o'clock or something like that.
Okay.
Probably
So
got
so
that
you're
wrong.
so you're like 7 hours ahead of me.
Yeah.
Okay, just so I know. But yeah, man, you got me on the chat there, so anytime you want to talk, you're able to message me and contact me. But
Yeah.
but yeah, man, as I said, I thank you for having a conversation with me. I will upload this video to my page. Um, you know, but
And
yeah,
both,
man,
both,
with that being said,
both
I'll see you around.
should be in better quality as well
Yeah.
because mine off. So maybe I'll delete this and upload your one.
Yeah,
It'll be a
that's
lot
all
better.
good, man. That's all good.
All the time
All
for
right.
no reason. So I'll catch you later then.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you around, man. I'll see you around. It was a good debate. Good talking to you.
Later.
All right. All right. Bear with me just a second here. All right. So that was the debate between ETT Yasha and the Loving Christian, or he changed his name recently to Lion something. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I'll call him Loving Christian because that's what I've known him by for years. But yeah, if you want to find his YouTube page, I'll try to put a link in the description box. But if you look up Loving Christian, you should still be able to find it. Um, but yeah, if you thought that Loving Christian won, just put hashtag Lion down below. But if you think ETT won, then put hashtag ETT down below. If anybody made it this far into the video, let's put hashtag. Oh, let's do this. If anybody made it to the end of the video, put hashtag KO in the comment section down below. Anyway, with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching this debate, and I want to, of course, give all praises and glories unto Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai for the understanding of the gospel of this truth. And with that being said, I'm going to say shalom.